Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Empowered Educators with Ronnette Branham podcast. We are here to offer a supportive community for educators. We want to offer strategies and wisdom and insights that will help make teaching easy. I know I used to hear people say they want that kind of anointing that makes uh preaching easy. So that's something that I'm noticing. Yeah, we have insights and ideas that can help us make everything easier. I've been following the guest that we're going to have next week, and he has a lot of things that help make a lot of strategies to make teaching easy. So with that, I'm just going to get into this episode today. I am so happy to have our guest, sobriety and life coach Leonard Murphy. How are you today, Lenny?
I'm doing great on that. How are you?
I'm great. I'm really anticipating this episode today. As
Yes.
we spoke yesterday. A lot of things I feel like they were not in my reach. As far as sobriety, I'm like, I don't even know. I know of people who are struggling with sobriety, but I
Right.
didn't until last week or last couple of weeks. It was right in my face. Like, people within a hand's touch away. So this is a must have subject because I don't care if you're a teacher, I don't care who you are. You know somebody or you are somebody who are having issues with that. So
Yeah.
what do you want to tell us? Like, how did you get into this life coaching, sobriety coaching, and tell us a little bit about exactly what you do, and then we'll go from there.
Oh, sure, sure. Again, thank you for having me on that. Like I said, we talked about this for a few weeks now. We had a great talk yesterday, so I was looking forward to it. Yeah, like you just touched on, for many of us, addiction is in the families. We have someone we know or someone in our families suffers with addiction. It's very common. And how I got into this work is that first off, born and raised in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Grew up in the housing projects in Brooklyn, so kind of a rough life, I guess you could say. And addiction. We talk about addiction, and in the family, it ran rampant in my family. My father was an alcoholic. He actually passed away from his disease, and I had an aunt who was like my second mother. She passed away from the disease. My grandmother, my mother's mother, passed away from the disease as well. She passed away actually. Don't even remember. She passed away. I don't think I was even 1 year old yet. But so talk about in the family. Yes, that's I've experienced it firsthand. And how I got into this work. I struggled with my alcoholism as well in my young adulthood, up to just 5 years ago. I dealt with alcoholism, and I struggled with alcohol taking over, making my life unmanageable. So when through many tries trying to get sober, relapsing over and over and over again, it was just when my aunt passed away, who I mentioned a little earlier. She passed away. It was just like something clicked inside of me. It was like, this is it. I mean, I was there when she passed, and I whispered in her ear that her name was Georgia. So I said, on Georgia, I'm never going to drink again. And from there, even though I tried many times, from there I knew this was going to be a different journey. And I went to my last stint in rehab. I actually stayed for an extended period of time. And I dealt with a lot of things that I didn't deal with before when I tried to get sober, like trauma, like, really getting to know about myself and my past. Um, Coming to, I resented my father, just learning about that and finding peace in that and forgiving him. And, through that, I became sober, and I was really committed to sobriety. But after when I got sober this last time, I was like, you know what? There's still things going on. And this is what kept me relapsing. Like, once we're sober, we're like at a state where, okay, what's next? And a lot of us, when we get sober, we're still struggling spiritually, physically, emotionally, financially, even. And it's that we have those struggles, and if we're not addressing those things in our lives, if we don't have a passion for life and want to not only be sober but thrive in recovery, we're going to end up, there's nothing for us to do. We are sober and we'll end up going back to our addiction because that's comfortable, right? And that was my experiences in the past. So I went on this journey where, okay, I'm not only gonna live sober, I'm gonna find a way to thrive. Just what can I do now? I reclaimed my life, took my life control back. I rediscovered my purpose in life, and I've been in finance. I was in finance, baking in finance for 25 years. Transitioned, left the job, and I was like, I'm gonna help people who are at a point where I was at, where that we get stuck place. Where, okay, I'm sober now. Now what?
Now what?
Yeah, because you can go to rehab and get sober. You're not whatever. How long you there? 20 days, 40 days, or whatever, 45 days. You're not drinking. You're not drugging. If you're there for gambling or eating disorders, you're not doing those things. You're away from your addiction. But okay, so now you're sober for a short period of time. But now what? When you leave, what's the aftercare? What's the plan? What's the program? So that's why I went to coaching, because now people come to coaches for something they want to change in their life, or something they need help with, or they want to do better. And I thought this was an opportunity for me to help those who was stuck where I was stuck, and help them not only stay sober, but live a good life, live a purposeful life, and fulfilled.
Sounds like you're the missing link. What you're doing, because I heard you say a lot of things. You said a whole mouthful where you kept relapsing, you kept going back.
Yes.
Or I don't know how many times, but then that final time, something clicked where your mindset changed. Correct. And then you went into these rehabs and you got clean, because you're clean. Because what are you gonna do? You're clean, so it's out of your system. But then when you came home, still was something missing. And I know I told you yesterday, I watched people over the years. I watched one particular person just clean. Like I know they didn't deal with their issues, their demons that they had. I know that because there's other issues. But as far as drug use, they don't use drugs. Like, it's not a thing for them. And then I watch other people who are in and out. They were clean for years and go back. And I see people go back because of medication. They got in some kind of accident. Doctor gave them some kind of pain medication, and it didn't work for them. So there's so many things to unpack right there. So I shared with you yesterday. I'm gonna say it real quick, and then I'm gonna let you respond. But one of my doctors, I was misdiagnosed with fibromyalgia, but it was all the while it's pinched nerves, right? So there's nothing you can do for fibromyalgia, which I believe is fake. I know I don't want people writing in me saying I have fibromyalgia, but it's really, the reason it's called that is because they don't know what it is. But when they find it, I promise you, it's going to be something you're going to say, oh, all this time. But I'm not, see, I went too far with that, because fibromyalgia patients, I have that, so, but they misdiagnosed me and was giving me pain medication. But then I got to a point where I'm like, I needed it. And that was not a good feeling for me. Like, I did not like that. I didn't like how I felt. So I didn't care what the doctor said. And I just took less and less until within a few weeks. I don't know. It didn't take that long because my mind already was made up. I'm not taking this. Then I didn't take it. And then when I found out what was the issue, I don't take pain medication unless I have a headache. I take something for that. So how there's something missing, something here that I can't comprehend. And that's true. Unless you break it down and make it apply to food or cake or cookies, then I can comprehend it. Yeah, well, how did you get off that? I was off sugar for a long time. But then when I went back, like, what? Give me some cake, then I want some cookies. Then I want something else. So I get it. But there's something with that. And then that staying sober, you did it. You're prime example when you kept going back. So how does that? I don't know. I believe it is a spiritual thing. It is an emotional thing. It's traumas that hit. And I believe your mindset at the same time, there's something that we are not addressing besides the physical addiction. So how I don't know. I'm just talking. I forgot really what I was about to ask you. But
no, I got you.
How does that, how you start the missing piece? That's what I got to say. What you're doing is the missing piece in my eyes, because I'm an outsider looking in. Right. And life coaching, sobriety coaching. How does that work? Like, I know people who need it. How does that work?
So yeah, so the thing with like you said, there's substance abuse, there's other things like when you hear addiction, sometimes you automatically think of alcohol or drugs. But like you said, there's other addictions. There's food, eating disorders, there's gambling, there's people addicted to porn, to sex. There's so many different things. But in order to change anything in your life, there has to be a commitment. So you have to make a commitment to change. We talked about you just mentioned mindset. Mindset has to change the way you think. Change the way you can't change your feelings unless you change your thoughts. And there has to be a commitment there. And when I got sober, there was I committed to it. And when I finally got sober, I was ready to commit to get sober. And sometimes, I mean, like I said, I relapsed all the time, and I was not being honest to myself, and I didn't commit. I said I wanted to stop, but really and truly, I wasn't ready to stop. And that's why, and you're right. Many of us don't know unless you're in addiction. Outsiders who haven't been addicted or
Mm-hmm.
don't know much about it, just don't understand it. I mean, that's why I always say only an addict can help another addict get sober. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I remember I would go, when I was in active addiction, I would go cry to my ex-wife or my mother. They really didn't know. They didn't know much about the disease of addiction. They didn't. All they could do is, give support until they don't want to support me anymore because I was just screwing everything up. I mean, but which was so unfair to them. So they was like, they're on the inside looking out. They're on the outside looking in, like Lenny's messing everything up. He's screwing
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
up. He's robbing. He's stealing. He's lying. After a while, they're like, then the judgment comes in. Like, not, I was hoping my family didn't call me a loser, but they were like, hey, you come back to us when you're better. You know what I mean? They could not be around me, and I don't blame them. Like they just don't know. You call it ignorance, whatever it is. If you don't know, if you haven't experienced addiction or dealt with someone with addiction, you don't know. You have a lot of us from the outside may judge that person with addiction, but this is something that actually takes over your life. Has a strong hold on you.
yeah. We talked
And
about
with
that yesterday. A stronghold.
yeah,
It,
just
it
has a
is
strong
a stronghold.
right. And it's a lot of things. And then we talked about things that you have to deal with. There's a lot of things, and everybody's different. No one woke up one day and said, you know what, I'm going to be an alcoholic and not only screw up my life, but my spouse's life, my kids' life, my family's life. So there's things, always something underlying there that needs to be addressed. And again, I'm not a therapist, anything. Don't claim to be, don't try to be, but just from my experience, I had to deal with a lot of trauma. Childhood trauma. And it was real. I mean, sometimes people will say, oh, therapy and all that, there's no need for it. But that's easier said when you maybe your culture, society, whatever culture you're in, had means to do something like that, to take care of those issues or saw them ahead of time. I was growing up, my father's alcoholic. Nobody even got angry at him when he would come in the house drunk and stumbling. Like
It
my
was
mother,
they were used to it, you mean?
right? It was just that culture and that time and that environment that it was like, okay, you drank, everybody drank. So what? Some people drink more than others. Some people got drunk and stumbled home. And that was it. My mother never got angry I never saw my mother angry at my father for drinking too much. I mean,
Really?
I saw her get
Really?
angry at him for other things, but not for that. So, and she was an
Huh.
enabler. So not only was she an enabler, but she never showed disappointment in him or never told him to get help. But that was that generation, how it dealt. Our culture, and I'll speak to culture, but African American Black culture, we don't see therapists. We don't go for help, especially back then. They were like, you just drinking. All right. My husband drank too much. He, ha ha ha. And you kind of chuckled about it because of the embarrassment and the shame that your husband got robbed the night before because he was drunk in the street, or he came home and tripped over a bike and broke his hand because he was drunk. These things actually happened to my father. I
You
speak about him all the time. But I mean, it
that's
wasn't, that's how it was in our culture. And then, because
absolutely.
we don't know about it, and this was something we don't talk about. And then I had the trauma of that. And then fast forward, my generation, like now it's that I was married. I was drinking during marriage. Now that generation was more judgmental. Not, oh, you're drunk, you're a loser, I'm leaving you, like type of thing. Because we don't know how to deal with it. You know what I mean? It's just our culture. We don't know how to, hey, why don't maybe you should go get help. I'll support you, you go get help. Or us, we don't even know ourselves. My father didn't know that he could have got help. We just didn't know.
No.
You know, by the grace of God, when I first was in active addiction, I didn't know to get help. Something popped up, AA, again, all God's doing. That, you know, because
Yeah.
I knew I didn't want to live like that. I heard of AA. I went to a meeting, and I mean, again, I was back and forth, but it was just something that's not common amongst African American men, women as well. I go into the rooms even today. I don't see a lot of people of color talking about it. You know what I mean? So,
Really.
I mean, those. I mean, I went off in a tangent there, but you know, that's
No, but you're pointing out things that I saw, but I didn't understand what I was seeing until you bring it. Like I grew up around people, not necessarily around me, but they were extended family members who drank a lot, or use drugs and used it a lot. And my grandmother, I cannot say there was a time when she was upset with her son. I still, when I, not now, but when I look back at it, sometimes I'm like, that she act like things didn't bother her. Like when it came to her son, I didn't get it. And again, that's just what it was, like you said. So, something changed with society where African Americans, Black people are going to get help, and that's a great thing. And then there's people who go get help, but they go halfway. They don't go as far as getting a sobriety coach or a life coach to help them plan out their lives. So talk more about that, because I know we've seen it all. We've seen it all. I don't know anybody who has it. I mean, there are some, but I don't believe them if they say they never saw it. But talk about that. Okay, I know somebody. I know somebody who's having struggles, and they said they're struggling with their sobriety. And how does somebody introduce this to them? Or what could you offer? What could a life coach offer somebody who's struggling with their sobriety? They don't want to use drugs, but any excuse is an excuse, is a reason to get high.
all right. Great question. Great question. And so, yeah, when I decided to go down this path and become a sobriety, get certified as a life coach, but my focus was on helping those in early sobriety. I was like, because, you know, I was in business for 25 years. I was in corporate world, so I had a corporate coach, and the coach always helped me get to that next level in life, to help me grow. Whether it's my business, I had life coaches before when I was helped me next level in life, certain goals, certain things I wanted to achieve, wanted to reach my full potential. A coach always helped me, and so now when I went through getting sober, I was like, okay, life coaching would definitely help someone in sobriety, getting sober, getting their life back together, because that's what you want to do. Once you get sober, I don't think God doesn't put us, you know, God does not give us the gift of sobriety to just be sober. We need
Yeah.
to take that gift and run with it, and either serve others who need help and go do something amazing with your life. Go out there and crush it. I truly believe that. I mean, or he wouldn't have saved us from the depths of hell.
Yeah,
That's
why,
what I was
right?
saying. You know, talking about wanting to commit suicide numerous times. I've been through that. So I truly believe there's a purpose and a reason behind that, behind God allowing us to get sober. So I was like, I said, okay, who do I want to help? I want to be a life coach, and I want to help people with their life, of course, because I love people and I love to serve. I mean, I feel that's my purpose. But a bigger purpose was, okay, I just knew I was qualified to help those who've been through what I've been through. You know, even though it was I mean, really dark time I went through. Dark times, you know, lost my life, ended my marriage ended because of this. Was a big part of my marriage ending. Lost his job, lost lost a home, lost cars, lost a car, lost a lot, lost a lot. But what's lost is lost. And
Yeah.
and I was like, but I changed. I totally changed. I no longer have the desire to drink. And I was like, isn't this where this is where I wanted to be one point in my deepest, darkest times. So I said, I know there's hundreds of thousands of people out there worldwide who are at that same point, and they just need, it's all right. You go to rehab, and you go, like I said, you get sober. Rehab, by law, rehabs mostly have to keep you there for 28 days, and then you can, they don't have to keep you anymore. I guess to get funding. Again, I don't know the whole system, but I know 28 days is the minimum you stay there for them to get funding. Then you can leave. They allow you to leave. I mean, so that's why you see so many people in and out. It's like a revolving door. But what do you do? I felt that there was, like you said, there was something missing there from that aftercare, and not just aftercare, but really, because you can always go to outpatient rehab once you leave rehab, or you go to outpatient rehab and get in detox. But what are you doing? What are you doing once you're sober? And that's what a high percentage of us are like, they're lost. And like you said, like we talked about yesterday, that's the worst place to be when you're just stagnant and you're sober and you don't know what to do with your life. Like, I talk to people, some people are scared they'll leave the house or walk by a liquor store. Because
I heard that. Yes, I actually heard that before.
I mean, Ronnette, I just felt that that's no way to live. Like, God gave us this gift. We have to shine. We have to thrive. And I was like, I want to help these people, because I got through that point. And even when I got sober, I decided, I was like, I'm not going to live like that anymore, because I lived like that all the time. When I would get sober, I'd be nervous and scared. I don't want to hang with certain, I don't want to go out. I didn't want to go enjoy myself. So I wasn't drinking, but I wasn't happy or fulfilled. There had no joy in my life. And I meet so many people that are sober, 15, 10, 20 years. They're sober, but that's all they can say about their life. Unfortunately, I'm sober. Nothing.
So did you have an epiphany or something? Something said you can live better than this, or somebody said that to you? Or how did you see that? Because people just live. People are just living, and they don't see. It's like we don't watch TV. That's what I tell people when I see people doing certain things. Like, don't you watch TV? TV, you can see people doing better than that. So how did you have that, an epiphany of some sort?
It's funny. I mean, it's funny you say that, because I remember, and this comes from growing up. My mother, like I said, my father's alcoholic, so my mother, we went through that. But my mother always pushed and stressed on my sister and I, about just doing better, having ambition, having goals, having dreams. And that stuck with me. And my mother put that in my head. So I always, when I first went to college, graduated, I was very ambitious, always had goals, always had dreams, I had my life planned out. I got accepted to one of the top financial management training programs in the country when I got out of college. And went into banking. And like I said, I was ambitious, had my plans, but then unfortunately alcohol took over, and all those dreams, they went to the wayside, went away. And I just wanted to get sober, and I was living in that, circle of relapsing, getting sober, relapsing, getting sober. But then when I started, as I was getting more mature in my recovery and, experiencing things, I would just hear people. I would go to meetings. I go to recovery meetings today, and I would just hear these stories. People would tell these stories. And again, AA was my foundation, how I started getting sober. So I have nothing but great things to say about AA. But I do have to say, you heard all these stories with not a lot of, and all they said at the end, yeah, I'm sober, nothing happy. And I would think back to, wow, how was I before I became addicted to alcohol, and it ruined my life? Like, I had all these dreams, I had these goals, I was ambitious. I just didn't see a lot. Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of people get sober and they do great things.
Yeah.
I've seen it. There's so many stories you hear about it. Even famous people, you hear about it. But I was just like, wow, nobody's like smiling and happy. Like, I mean, they're happy they're sober, but that's about it. Like, okay, I'm sober, but I want to, now what? What's my dreams? What's my goals? What's my passions? What's my purpose? And I felt not enough of us, once we got sober, was thinking that way. Again, like I said, a lot of us, even with sober, we're still struggling. We're still broken spiritually, financially. What about getting your finance together? Emotionally, we're emotionally torn, broken. Physically, a lot of us you become out of shape. All that alcohol and drugs do to your body, or like whatever the addiction is, And those are things we should address. So that's where I thought I could serve and really serve on a high level, like, and my purpose to, once you're sober, how do you want to live? Like, how can I help people get to that next level in their life and what they reclaim their life and rediscover their purpose?
Okay, so what do you? I understand life coaching. I get it. So you direct people to counselors. I mean, like therapists, and you help them get their goals in order. Like if I need a life coach gonna sit down and help me with my goals and help me with direction for those goals. Right? Is that how you
Right.
operate?
So coaching is all about, it's a partnership.
Mm-hmm.
It's some we talk through, what your dreams and goals are, and you know what they are. All my clients know what they are. I'm
Okay.
just there to ask the right questions and guide them through it. And it's sometimes people need that. They need to be guided and talked to and just have it, get it out of them. You know what I mean? Just like I needed that. So and no, I'm not a if I and again I deal with people and who are early sober. I coach most people. I coach high achievers that are in early sobriety. So I'm not here to get you sober. That's a personal thing that you need to do, and you have to
Uh-huh.
commit. You have to commit on your own to get sober. That's where therapy comes in. That's where rehab comes in. I'm not a therapist, and if I do find, if I have somebody come to me that I feel needs therapy or just needs to get sober first before they get coaching, because you can't
Yeah.
get coached unless you're committed and you're in sobriety and sober. You need
Okay.
to get
Yeah.
sober
Yeah.
first. So I'm not a rehab. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a counselor. I'm here to coach you to, once you're sober, to get your life to where you want it to be. But I have clients come to me, and if I think, I think a therapist would be best for you at this time. And then once you go through therapy, even if you continue therapy, we can meet and start a
Yeah.
relationship. But I'll refer them to that. I won't take them if I think that they would be better served with seeing a therapist before they come see me.
Okay.
So,
So just say let's say I know somebody, right?
right.
I don't know. I know, just say I know they don't have a life coach. And I'm watching them go down this path of going back and forth, struggling with that struggle, whatever it is. Because I like, again, I don't know it firsthand, but I can
Right.
understand it from, I'm gonna say, my own sugar addictions. That sounds like, I know people hear me say that, and it's a real thing,
No, of course,
because
yes.
it works with your diabetes, cholesterol, all that processed food, all that stuff, and you have to get that. You can get it out of your system because I
Right.
did it, right? But then the same thing, keep going back. Why am I doing this? What am I getting out of it? Do I love myself enough? We go through all that stuff. I don't love myself enough because I'm not even doing something that's going to help my body, right? So, how do I direct somebody to you, or is it something like you just have to introduce them as a person, or you introduce you as who you are? Because some people, how do you know that a person is ready for that sobriety coach or that life coach? I know they sound almost the same to me. uh,
Yeah, sobriety life coach. I'm a certified life coach, but my focus is sobriety, helping those in
right.
early
Okay.
sobriety. So yeah, so if I would, for me to know if they're ready to have a start a partnership or to start down that road of coaching, it would be a conversation, and in that conversation I'll discover what their needs are, what they're looking to change in their life, if they're ready to put in the time to change it, and again, are they ready to change now? You know what I mean? So those are the things that I would, speak to about it before I just agree to take on a client. I have to, we call it a discovery call. There's some things I need to discover about them to see if they're ready for coaching. And like I said, some people may not be ready for coaching. May be better served, maybe seeing a therapist to deal with some deeper things, issues there, than getting their life back on track and taking it to the next level and reaching their goals and dreams and things like that. There may be some deeper thing mentally or some things that maybe happened in the past that they didn't address that they need to. And for that, they may need a professional
A
in another
professional.
area. But
Okay, so how does this work? Just say I've been on in and out of rehabs. My mind is not ready. I know I need help, right? I know I
right.
need help. I need a life coach. But I don't know, just say my insurance on my job doesn't pay for that. How does that work? Like, I just have to have the mindset that I know I need to pay for what I need. Is that how that will work?
Right. So with coaching, there's a cost. I mean, there's a cost to pay for coaching. Most coaches don't take insurances, things like that.
Yeah.
You may have the card. I forgot what it's called. Is it FSA? Excuse me. Don't quote me. But where you get certain amount of money taken out and
Yeah,
put
yeah, I
on
know what
to the
you're talking
side.
about.
So those things like that. But I mean, we could always talk about, like, every each client we talk about cost and what, you know. And again, I
Oh,
do coaches have set prices, but you take, and how I run my practice, you take clients as they are, always open to work things out. It all depends on their situation. But again, that we discussed that. First, you discuss if it's a good fit, if coaching
yeah.
for them is a good fit. Cost
Okay.
and everything is the last thing you talk about. It's important to talk about. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
first you want to make sure they're fit or whatever to see if they need if they're for coaching, and they won't know until they have the conversation with the coach. You never know. I mean, I didn't even realize I was introduced to coaching back when I first got a corporate coach. I had no
Mhm.
idea. I thought it was this expensive thing that only
Yeah,
rich
yeah.
top producers, top 1% use. But actually, it really truly helped me. Even with that was a business coach and I had a life coach both. I still have both business and life coach.
Uh-huh.
So they both, I mean, just help me grow. The growth that I see from these relationships I have with both of them and what they bring out of me, the experience, and it's all about the experience of coaching. It's a great, fun experience. It's an amazing experience, and it's life changing. I mean, it definitely
Really.
changed my life.
I
Definitely changed
know,
my life.
absolutely. Just the coaches that we have, even at the Speakers Academy,
Yeah.
they help. Just even if you're watching them coach somebody else, like last night's call, or if you go, like we have the meetups with our locals,
Right.
and the coaching that you get, it's just you can't even really put a number on it because
Right.
it's changing your life. I'm in a call with Eric Thomas in the morning time. Are you on that call? The
Oh yeah, yes.
21.
I signed up for that. Yep. So
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Just
yeah, he's
the
great.
things he's saying.
Yes.
The,
Yes.
early in the morning, getting in your head, that helps with my day. Just prompting me, what are you going to do today to move the needle in whatever you're trying to do, whatever endeavor? So coaching is a must. So I
Right.
say,
Definitely.
anybody, you need a coach, you need a therapist, maybe you need a professional. I mean, I think we all could benefit from a professional once or twice.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes. Yes.
we can. I know I've tried um psychologist some years ago. I went to a psychiatrist once. I didn't like her because she just seemed weird. And then they offer medication, and
Right.
I wasn't
Right.
gonna hear that. But the psychologists, they were all different.
Right.
And you get to some that were great and they validate you. Then you get to some that are like, I don't know about that. That doesn't register with me. So everybody, you have to find somebody that's a great fit. But once you find a therapist who works for you, but if you find a coach who's in the field of what you're trying to do, that is awesome. I mean, I sound like I'm a testimonial, but I am, because just to be where I am, and then even here listening to you, I'm like, yeah, I need to talk to somebody. Like, yeah, I do, just for bringing up my issues with sugar. Like, that's
Right.
the issue for me. Like, it has been up until today. It's been an issue for me up until right now, where okay, I don't want bread. I'm good. I'm good. I don't need
Right.
it. But then once I got back into that cycle, it just didn't. It just like, well, hey, this is not working. You go get your blood work done, and they're like, well, this is high and that's high.
Right.
You got
Right.
to work on that, or we're going to
Mhm.
give you some medication. And then I don't believe in all that medication. I think you're supposed to eat right and exercise.
Right. Right.
That's
I
me.
know.
I'm not a doctor, but I know that helps. And if a doctor tells you that's not it, then that's not even a great doctor for you. But yeah, so that life coach that you had, your business coach, is that help you with this business?
Oh yeah, so yeah, I have a business coach. He helps me with the business. Getting just growing the business and things I need to do. my outreach, having to set it up just so where I can have my business set up so I could serve people the best way I possibly can. And then I have my life coach. My life coach is, I have goals and dreams, things I want to do, change in my life, get better, and my life coach helps me with that. So, yeah, they both are amazing. I think I couldn't imagine my life without them, to be honest with you. And the course is like, it's you can't even put a course in it. It's just so life changing, so great. And I've committed to it. And like I said, I didn't know about it at first until I tried it. And once I knew I was a fit, and I think the two coaches I have are a great fit. And again, that definitely helped my business and definitely helped my life.
And it helps you. I was talking to my daughter yesterday, or the day before, I don't know. We were talking about finding your people. Through coaching has helped me find my people, because I know about you. I've been around people, they're not my people, and you just feel like God made me different, right? God made me different. I don't fit in. That's because you don't fit in there. There are your people. I go to our 1 hour meetup that we had last month or whenever it was. Those are my people. They're after the same thing. I'm listening to people speak, and I'm like, wow, I don't even care if it doesn't even relate to me, but I'm watching the process. And like, yeah, we're doing the same thing, and even if our goals are not exactly the same. So finding your people, I started out with the morning meetup, and then we have this live book read. And the live book read, those people are my people. We can help each other, talk to each other, support each other, offer advice, offer services.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, then you go around who you've been around, you're like, yeah, they're not my people. So there's things that's happening. Your family is your family, because that's your family. Where are they going? Nowhere, unless you move away and decide to start a new life. That I don't suggest that. But you still got these people who've been in your life. You find your people, man. Coaching is what has done it for me. So yeah,
like that you'll find out when you're being coached. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because you're directed.
Right.
Yeah, I just talking and listening to all these things. Again, sobriety is something that people are struggling with. Goals in your life are things that people are struggling with. Is there something else that is something that we missed that you might want to discuss? I know you discussed your story, how you came about it. Anything, any tips that somebody could use based off of what you do?
Well, yeah, I mean, if again, anything before you change, true self-awareness is the first step to self-improvement, I always say. So you have to be aware of, and we know there comes a point where we know where, this is a problem, and we see the consequences that are going on around us. I mean, it doesn't matter how bad we don't want to admit that there's an issue. I think sometimes we just need to have that tough conversation with ourselves and be like, okay, do I have a problem? And I'm talking through experience. There were years I knew I had a problem, but I just didn't admit it to myself. And how could I? There was no way for me to change if I didn't even admit it to myself.
Yeah, if you couldn't,
even when others around me started to see it, I still was like, no, I don't. What do you mean? I only drink on the weekends. I just drank that one night. It's crazy. I just crashed the car that one night. Things, and then you start to be like, you're saying stuff that makes no sense.
Yeah.
And you're lying to yourself, just lying to yourself. And I think once we have that self-awareness, and the sooner we admit to ourselves that this is a problem, the sooner we get help, and the sooner our lives will change for the better. And especially if people that are out there, if you know you're having a problem and you know you're hurting your spouse, your husband and your wife, your children, your parents, your siblings, it's so unfair to them. That's one thing I learned when I was going through active addiction. It's so unfair to them. And we sometimes kind of resent them because they are so angry at us and treat us so bad. But look at how we was treating them. It's so unfair. So you got to get better for yourself first. That's important. But also think about the people that you're hurting. That they have to be hurt by you. You know what I mean? It's tough. Addiction is tough. But you have to be aware. Once you're aware and you commit, those are the first two steps. To commit to change, those are the first two steps. And it's a journey. It's not going to happen overnight. You're going to You're gonna fail sometimes. Most people relapse. I mean, there's a small percentage who get it the first time.
The
Not
first
many
time.
people.
Yeah.
I don't think I've met about the thousands of people I spoke to all over the world. I
Uh-huh.
haven't met not one
Well,
person.
I told you I know one. I
One
do. I
person.
do.
So one.
But her story is different to me, and
Right.
I can't even say why. But you said a whole word when you said, "Look what you've done." Because I find people that I know, they're the victim. They are the victim in their story. They are the victim for real. They're like, people are treating them bad
Oh
when
yeah.
actually we don't treat them bad. We don't treat them badly at all, given the circumstances. We don't like, but they are the victim. That and then so for that victim, I'm going to say the victim of whatever is in their head or whatever they're going through. What is one recommendation, one strategy for long term sobriety or tip for managing the cravings and the triggers?
Oh, good question. Good question. So yeah, I mean, once you're sober, I call it, you have to have a daily protocol for your sobriety. You have to do something each and every day that's going to help keep you sober, and you'll figure out what it is. But you can't, whether it's working out, meditation, you know, going for a run, for a walk, doing something that stimulates your mind and that you have a passion for. It could be prayer, something that is gonna help you stay sober and focus on something else besides alcohol. Because all we did every day, all day before, is just drink, do drugs, or whatever our addiction was. We fed the addiction. Now we have to feed something that's gonna better our life. And again, it could be reading a book. And you're gonna try a lot of things until you find those few things that really help focus your mind and have you focus on bettering your life and growth. Um, again, when I first got sober, I was doing a bunch of things. I was working out. I was, you know, you know, took up reading, more than I used to read. I was became a runner. There was just so many things I did, and every day I did them consistently. You have to have a schedule, because if you don't, and you think, besides your health or wellness, is also something to do for your sobriety, whether it's speaking to someone in a sober community, going to a recovery meeting, seeing your therapist, seeing
Oh,
a sobriety coach. You have to do something that's gonna help keep you sober, and you have to do it consistently and keep doing it. So the point, sometimes we feel too, we fall short, is when we're sober for a certain period of time.
mm-hmm.
Oh, I've been sober for 4 months. I'm good. I don't have to. I don't have to go to see
Oh,
my therapist anymore. No, I'll go to that recovery meeting once a week instead of 3 times a week, 4 times a week. That's another thing. We have to consistently do this. This has to become a lifestyle. A sober
yeah.
living is called sober living. And again, as you get more mature and you don't have the desire to drink, there's something like, I don't go as many recovery meetings as I used to, but I still
Mm-hmm.
do something every day for my recovery. I work out. I pray each and every morning and each and every evening for my sobriety. I ask God to cover me and to remove the desire to drink from my mind and my heart. I say that prayer every morning for the last 5 years. So
Sounds
even if
like,
I do nothing else, I
uh-huh.
say that prayer, and that's something for my sobriety, still to this day. And I say at night, I thank Him for having removed that desire to drink from my mind and my heart. So even if I don't work out, if I don't go for a run, if I don't read, if I don't meditate, I did that. You know, if I ever stop doing anything, believe me, I could see the path of destruction coming and going back to the bottom. So we have to do something. We have to get into a rhythm, consistently doing something every day for our sobriety, and that'll help with the triggers. And not letting our mind wander to going back to what's comfortable, which is our addiction.
Yeah. Oh, I heard so much. I heard why, like, why are we resorting to this? And then I heard that self-talk. Self-talk is man, is something that no matter who you are, what you're doing, you have to get that self-talk under subjection. You have to get it under control. Because I'm thinking of things, even with this podcast, I can talk myself out of it. I can talk myself out of prospering in something because, like, well, I don't know if that's going to work. I don't know. We can talk to ourselves the
Right.
wrong way. That sounds like that you waking up every morning and going to bed at night. That prayer is self-talk, you talking to God at the same time, because you can't talk to God without talking to yourself. You can't do it
Right.
because you can't. You're speaking the words and you're talking to him. He's in you. He's at, I that's just it. So that self-talk, man, I'm loving this. I sound like I need a sobriety class.
Right. And another point too,
So
like,
this,
for those out there, it's you don't have to do it alone. Again, you can't other addicts can help addicts become sober. People who've been through the same thing you went through can help you get sober. So I think it's so important to tap into the sober community when you're going through these struggles, especially when you get sober, so you can stay sober, because they understand. I mean, they went through it. Your mother, your spouse, they didn't go through, so they don't understand it. But you have to
yeah,
reach at some point to be connected with this sober community, and you don't have to do it alone. There's so many, well, people to connect with, new relationships, and you don't always have to end all your old relationships. I mean,
yeah,
sometimes you are gonna have to cut off a couple of people. Believe me, I had to do
yeah,
that. There's some friends that don't respect your sobriety, don't respect the fact that you want to change your life for the better, or they're just disrespectful about it. Then those people you have to maybe cut off. But I mean, and you have to be open and honest with your friends, and if they're truly your friends, they'll accept what you're going through and support it. I have
yeah,
friends I thought I was so my core close knit of friends who I grew up with. I was open and honest with them. They all embraced me, thank God, and they all was like, "Hey, we're here to support you." They respect my sobriety. They know I don't drink, so if I'm out hanging out with them, they totally respect me, and they look out for me. They make sure I'm good. So those are people you can still keep, and those are my friends. I still hang with them, and some of them they still drink and whatever.
yeah.
But it's the drinking was my issue, not theirs. And if
Yeah, yeah,
they're supporting me, they're good people. It's no need because you're sober to get rid of good people just because they're not in recovery like you. I don't believe in that.
yeah.
But I do believe in connecting with others who are in recovery. That's so important. So important.
So how do you define success? Just say I come to you, I need some help with my life coaching, sobriety coaching. How do you define success? I know you said you still have coaches. You have coaches as we're
Okay.
speaking. So success, does it mean I don't need you anymore? I don't need a coaching anymore? How do you define success if I came to you for help?
Well, again, it all depends on what your goals are. Some people come to coaching with one goal in mind, and when they get the tools and they know they're ready to either reach that goal or have the tools to get it, they feel they don't need coaching anymore. I The reason I keep my coaches is because I'm always coming up with new goals, new ambitions, new challenges. So, and again, there's sometimes you come to coach for a certain thing. There's something going on in your life that you want to change. You
Hmm.
go there for the coach. You'll go for whatever 3 months or whatever, um, 12 months or whatever you go for, whatever you sign up for, and then that coaching relationship ends. And if you feel that hey, you've really experience something that was life changing during that time, and you in a
Hmm.
relationship, that's totally fine. It all depends
Yeah.
on the person's goals and what they want to get out of coaching. Like I said, I'm always like, let's go. What's the next thing I'm gonna do? So especially with the business, my business is still going. So I'm always like, what's the next thing I can do? How can I serve more? How can I help? How can I serve better? So those are the things. And there's certain times I have topics, certain things that's going on in my life or my business I don't want to address. So we do that. But it all depends on what a person wants out of coaching. You don't have to stay in
Okay.
it forever. You can coach it forever. You can coach it for 3 months, 12 months, whatever the coach is offering. You could do one session. It's all about, what your needs are.
With your
That's
okay, yeah. Because I could need coaching for speaking, then I could need a coach for business because
yeah,
that's two different things. It could be together, but I
correct.
might need to know how to speak, how to craft a story, or whatever I'm trying to do. So I could appreciate this. I don't want to hold you. I don't want to go over, because we could keep on talking.
Of
So
course, I know.
um, I just want to go out here with a way to stay motivated, continue to growing personally and professionally. Uh, Give me a word to take us out of here.
Commitment. That's one of my favorite words. I mean, there's no change without commitment. So if there's something you want to change in your life, commit to the change, get the ideas and the steps, get help to know what it takes to change, and be committed to the process. And don't, in life, I mean, Kobe, and I always end on my podcasts or speeches with this a lot lately, but it resonates and always comes into my mind. Kobe Bryant has a saying: the biggest mistake we think we the biggest mistake we make is thinking we have more time.
Yeah. Ooh.
So I mean, we push these things off. I'll get sober next week. I'll get sober in the new year. I'll better my life when this happens, when that. I mean, the sooner we commit to change and changing, the longer we'll have to experience that change. And so will the loved ones and people around us. So I mean, we none of us know how much longer we have on this earth. I think life is a wonderful, beautiful thing. I mean, I wake up with a smile on my face every day, full of joy, and I want the people I touch and serve to feel that way too, because I know
Yeah.
that's why God put us on this earth. So we have to commit to something in your life you want to change. Commit to it, and God will see you through, and you will change. I know you can do it. I believe in all you out there, and you can always reach out to me. My information is here. Anybody wants to is curious about coaching, wants to know what it is, or an early sobriety, wants to know if that's the right fit for you, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to have a conversation. All right.
Okay. We have on. We have the video and audio. We have the audio podcasting that goes out to all these different venues. So we can reach you at Leonard
Right.
at.
So my Instagram is so all social. You'll find me at Empowered Through Sobriety.
Okay.
Um, Email is Leonard LeonArD at empoweredthroughsobriety.com.
Okay, so empowered through sobriety. Okay, so I'll look for you there, and then I'm excited. I just, I'm one of those people who you say one thing, my mind is there. So you said that about Kobe. That's so ironic that that was something that he said a lot. That you never know how much time you have,
Right.
and then he proved
Many
it.
times.
He did. He didn't know
Right.
that
Right.
he
Exactly.
didn't have that much time, and when he left here, he was working towards something. He wasn't just sitting
Exactly.
still. So he
Right.
actually was working towards something. So that is oh, you said a mouthful. So remember here at I want to thank you again, Lenny, for joining us.
Oh, thank you, Ronnette. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It was a pleasure and an honor. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yes, I feel the same way. And I wish you well in this endeavor, in this
Thank you. Thank you.
business, because you and what you do is so needed. I'm telling you, I talked to two people. One of them I didn't talk to, but I was privy to a conversation. I was there.
Right.
I talk to people who, I mean, if they have you or somebody like you in their lives, it would the whole trajectory of their life would change because you can't see anything except something negative coming out of where they are right now.
Of course.
And
Right.
so to know that somebody who needs you can find you, I'm going to direct people that way. And then because I really felt the other day I was talking to my daughter, I was like, I really feel that. I feel bad. Then once I listened to them talk, I didn't feel so bad because I'm like they're a victim in their head, but it's because they don't know what to do. And
Right.
they,
Yeah.
they don't know what to
It's,
do.
it's the
So
addiction. The addiction makes us feel that way. You're right. You're right.
yeah, I get it. If I didn't get it before, I get it now. And then
Good.
I even get it when you said about the families. This is what we do. Like this is how we do it. I
Yeah.
remember having my uncle, my grandmother. She didn't say anything about her son. We didn't
No.
talk about him. We everybody knew who he was, what he did. We didn't talk about it. Like we just didn't. It wasn't
You're
even a
right.
thing. Like her yelling, like I would do today.
Yeah.
You better get yourself together. No, you're not coming here like that. I didn't never heard my grandmother say that. It just was a
Right.
thing. This is what it was. So again, I'm not gonna go off on another tangent. I just want to thank you again. Thank you for tuning in to Empowered Educators with Ronnette Branham podcast. I think I saw who did I see? I was talking to one of my friends. Who was I talking to? Irene. Thank you for tuning in and commenting, and also Caroline for tuning in. I appreciate it. And again, thank you. And like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget that. share with friends, family, teachers, people who are in need of sobriety, whatever, life coaching, share, and have a blessed rest of your day.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.